Yeah, fantastic. So I want us to do some pre-week analysis on several pairs before maybe so that we see what we will be looking out for during the week. I think next week the markets will now be moving quite well because this week the markets have been so slow because we were waiting for the official open of the non-farm government, and we had on Friday we had an FP that pushed the market and gave us very nice entries and kickstarted the momentum for us for the year. So I'm expecting next week we might have a lot of momentum. From next week now, markets uh, might be moving very well. So of course, you can always drop a comment on the chat box about the pair maybe you might want me to look at, um, or whatever, or something you might want me to talk about. So for today, we'll just be looking at random pairs. I'll start with AUDJPY. So I have a trade running on AUDJPY currently that I'm still holding. So I'll just take a look at AUDJPY by different liquidity provider. Maybe let's use Pepperstone for this case. So for JPY, it's so clear on the weekly time frame. I think it's very clear that we're expecting a bearish week next week. The reason is if you look at the current price action or the candles that are currently printing. Number one, if you look at this week, the last week of December, you see it was a bearish candle. And then the first week of January, what has happened, you see, is price has taken out the high of that candle right there and has pushed lower, right? So of course, price has closed lower than the previous week's close and also even lower than the previous week's low. Okay, you see the low has already been swept, and the kind of momentum that has swept that low is so strong, and I'm expecting that bearish momentum to continue. So for this particular pair, I'm looking at possibly, and of course, you can see prices had reacted from this fair value gap right here. You see price pushed to the 50% of that fair value gap and has been pushing lower. So once this low has been swept, I think now price might be looking for either this low, which has more liquidity. And the reason why I usually mark my valid liquidity zones based on the candles week. You see, this week has a long week. The explanation behind that is when a candle has a long week, it means that there were a lot of buy orders that were resting here. So when price goes dropped to this point, it couldn't price couldn't hold around this point for long, and it pushed back up high impulsively. So it means there are a lot of orders resting. But now we are not sure of that. What we can sorry about that. All we can say, or all we can look out for, is maybe price taking out that low and then this low in extension. So those are the two zones you can be looking at on this particular pair. Those are the two zones you can be anticipating to see price push towards. Of course, this low and this low. Now, once you have that on the weekly time frame, you can always scale down to now the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame to try and now find possible points where you can get in the market. Of course, if this is a valid, you see now on the daily time frame, we actually have this low as well. On the weekly time frame, I think it wasn't so visible. So we have this low as well and this one. So of course, price might sweep any of them. But then again, if you notice here, we have this fair value gap here that price left. So that price might drop to this fair value. We'll use these as inducements, okay, or other liquidity. Okay, liquidity to be grabbed in the market. So that will be now your market inducement. So that is why now I'm positive that AUDJPY next week might be bearish. Okay, next week and maybe for the next 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm expecting price to get to that particular fair value gap. Then now from there we can see what we can possibly look out for during the next week, other weeks. But for now, I think that is what you can look out for. That is what you can be monitoring to take on. Okay. Yeah. And then which other PM on the, okay, we can go lower even on the 4-hour time frame so that we see something else further. So on the 4-hour time frames, it's the same case. You see here we have this gap, possibly that can be an order block. So now we're able to just make sure we mark only the fair value gap. Of course, you can also have your ultimate zone at this last bearish candlestick here before the bullish momentum started. You can have that now as your extended or your ultimate demand zone. Okay. Yeah, but now that is where price is heading. Now you have to look for a point where you're getting in the market, because that is what is important. Where are you getting in the market from? So you can see here price has traded. This was our last. Now, if you're looking at the skeleton of this market, basically, give me a minute. So basically, internally, this is our an internal low, right? Because now this is not the main low that created any high in the market. So this one can be your internal change of character, or maybe if you, depending on how you mark your breakout structure, these also can be your can also be your what can also be your breakout structure, depending on how you mark your breakout structure. So it can be your internal change of character or your breakout structure, depending on how you mark your breakout structures and change of characters. Okay. Yeah. And then, so it means if this is your last breakout structure, then that means that now you can confidently mark this last bullish candlestick right here as your supply zone. So you can be looking, you can be expecting price to trade off from that supply zone, maybe have your stops slightly about there and target just this low. Even this low will give you a 5 RR if you target this one RR, which is so fantastic because that's a very good return, right? Yeah, so you can focus on, yeah, that is one of the opportunities you can get on AUDJPY. That is on the 4-hour time frame. So maybe you can scale down on the 1 hour to the 1 hour time frame now to refine your entry even further, so that you reduce the size of these supplies on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, on the 15 minutes time frame. You keep on refining until it's so tiny and you have an exact price where you can get in the market off from. Fantastic. Anyone with any question about on AUDJPY so far? Yeah, fantastic. So maybe we can look at now AUDJPY. So on AUDJPY, we'll of course we'll also start from the weekly time frame, just as usual. On the weekly time frame, and basically on AUDJPY, it's so clear on the weekly time frame you're very bearish. And looking at the kind of candle that we have right now on the weekly time frame, I can tell you that this market is going to push even lower, more and more, because of the kind of momentum we're having. We're not expecting any reversals from where price is right now. So, and you see here there's a drop, of course, fill this liquidity pool, because ultimately in the market, price is just always hunting liquidities to sweep and liquidity pools to fill. Okay. Yeah. So on the weekly time frame, intendedly, you know, you will be looking for a bearish week. Okay, for two reasons that I've explained to you. Number one, the kind of momentum we have right now on out USD means that we might have this candle being a bearish candle as well, because of you see the kind of impulse that the candle closed with, and then look at the kind of wick we have on the upper side. It means there's a lot of rejection from there, and of course that market had reacted off this fair value gap, which was filled to the 50% of that fair value gap. That's where market is off from. So of course now we'll be chilling so that we see where now we will possibly be going into the market from. You can scale down to a lower time frame like the daily time frame to try and find now a clear point where you can get in the market off from, because now it won't be so clear on your weekly time frame. Of course, on the daily, see what maybe where you can possibly get an entry off from. on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, maybe this is where you can maybe be prospecting to take entries from that last bullish candlestick there. But remember that that last bullish candlestick, the next bearish candlestick does not give us a huge momentum. So it's not a very, very strong, it's not a very, very strong supply. So you just have to be careful. It has it has an imbalance specifically. There's an imbalance right there. So maybe you can just chill and wait and see now the kind of reaction price has from actively. And then you'll wait and see maybe a lower time frame change of character, a fair value gap. Okay. Yeah, don't take any trade randomly. No, make sure you have enough confirmation in conferences before you get into the markets. Okay, yeah, so that is basically what you can be expecting on AUDUSD. And of course, I've told you the target now for this particular market. What you will be targeting is this weekly liquidity pool right here. This is where maybe you'll be targeting. And you see that's a lot of pips. That's a lot of pips, because now you'll have enough money actually if you hold this trade off from that zone to this low. That's, of course, that's about 10 RR. Yeah, if you're patient enough, this is a very good trade for you. You see, it's a crazy, and you see we only have 45 pips on the stop loss, which is pretty good, because having such your capital, as well as now those guys who trade small accounts, okay. Yeah, that is it on AUDUSD. Basically, that's what you can be looking out for. That's what you can possibly be focusing on getting. Yeah. And then okay, first, any question on AUDUSD? Does any one of us have any question on AUDUSD? Any question or any comments? Okay, so next we will look at EURUSD. Of course, Mercy will look at USDCAD. I'll just add it right here and then we'll look at it. So on EURUSD, of course, I had a trade. I think I did a recap of the same trade on my TikTok account. For now, I just want us to look at now possible market opportunities for next week. Yeah, so we'll start with the weekly time frame of basically you're looking at what you're expecting throughout next week. So the first thing is clearly looking at the kind of market we're having. It's a very, very bearish market, and with a very, very few reversals. So I'm expecting this week might also be very bearish, and we might keep pushing lower and lower. And of course, maybe we might be pushing to this low, where we have orders resting around there for that last bearish candlestick. And then now you see we also had this imbalance here that market is trying to fill. Okay, so possibly or most probably market is trying to get to this zone, and maybe we might even have market trading or sweeping this liquidity in the lower side, because of course market can't reverse from this or be without sweeping liquidity, and you can't see any inducements around here. So then of course we will be scaling down to the lower time frames now to find entry. Where can you possibly get in the market off from? Okay, yeah, on the daily time frame we can't clearly see any order blocks close to where we are, just around here. You can't see any order blocks right about there. So of course you'll have to scale down to an even lower time frame like the 4 hour now to try and see if you find any possible opportunities. I, of course, will mark that last bullish candlestick right about there, and you'll be expecting a reaction off from there. The first reason is the last bullish candlestick, and of course we have a very small price inefficiency right about here. And then from there, if that is your price inefficiency, another thing you'll notice is that there has been a price rejection of trading above that particular zone. And it means this is a liquidity pool around there. There's a liquidity pool around there that has a lot of orders that keep pushing prices even lower anytime price gets there. I think price has reversed from this point once, twice, thrice. 4 times, 5 times, that's about 5 times. So it means there's a very strong liquidity pool around there. But then also remember that the more the time price tests a specific zone, the higher the chances of price or of price mitigate time price tests this particular zone. You see, for instance, it has tested 5 times. It means price keeps on exhausting orders from around this point. And most intendedly, price or orders get exhausted from here. And when price comes back there, most of the times those zones get violated. Okay, so you also have to be very, very careful when you're trading off a zone that price has already tested or price has already traded off from. You must be very, very careful trading those zones. I hope that point is clear. Yeah, but still, that is what you can be looking out for. And that was an order block on the weekly time frame here. So of course, you can have, maybe you'll have a possible short position right there. Then you'll be targeting here. Of course, that's a too wide stop loss. That's about there. That's a 7 RR. Yeah, that's a very, very fantastic risk reward ratio that you can be looking out for if you are swing trader. Of course, can't tell a day trader to have such to hold. Or yeah, that's it on EURUSD. In case anyone has a question, you can ask on the comment section. Anyone with any questions on EURUSD or AUDUSD or AUDJPY? Those are the pairs we've looked at so far. Yeah, so GBPJPY, that's now our next pair. That's the pair we'll be looking at next. And GBPJPY. So GBPJPY, I think I had done this analysis with guys on my TikTok channel the other week. So we will be still expecting a bearish GBPJPY next week. The same reasons we've had for all those other pairs is, number one, you can see the kind of momentum we're having, but it's a short-term bearish momentum I'm expecting, because generally, if you look at GBPJPY, it's a bullish market, right? On the weekly time frame, very bullish. So I'm looking out just for price to short-termly get to another block that you've seen on the 4-hour time frame, right around there, that price might react off from. Okay, so I'm expecting price momentum started, and you can see we had a very clear fair value gap or price inefficiency that is resting there. And of course, market does not leave these price inefficiencies unfilled. So we're expecting market to fill this price inefficiency. Then in extension, price might stretch to this demand zone before we take our buy orders. Okay, that's the fight. That's the first idea. So, but in the event that price violates that particular zone, then be sure that price now will be looking out to take out this liquidity here. Okay, but then that liquidity is it's not a very, very strong draw for prices, because you see this liquidity pool price has already filled up to the 50% of that liquidity pool candle. See, yeah, price had tested that liquidity pool up to the 50%. So it means there are no much orders right here. But then in the event that price violates this order block here on the 4-hour, then I will be expecting price to take out this here, which is a very, very low probability. Higher chances are price might react off this 4-hour order block in here. So those are the higher chances we might take a trade off there. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm expecting on GBPJPY. And then on GBPUSD, so GBPUSD has been violating most of my order blocks so far this year. I think I've had about 3 order blocks I've marked out on GBPUSD. I didn't take them on my accounts, but has been slightly violating them. And I think it's maybe because of the slight difference between what you have on EURUSD and AUDUSD. Most people are always expecting a very, very similar structure for those two pairs. But then I think it has not been the clear same case this year so far. Yeah. For GBPUSD, of course, we're going to start from the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, you can see very clearly that we are looking at a very strong bearish market. And looking at the external structure, you can see this is our last structural low. So it means that maybe possibly structurally we might have an internal change of character right there, that maybe we can have price we might have price now pushing lower for a while now on GBPUSD, EURUSD. And of course there are other reasons, other fundamental reasons that market might that are currently pushing those pairs lower, right? Someone is saying the screen isn't clear. Okay, if the screen isn't clear, it means it's your settings. Just tap that settings button and then increase your video quality. Yeah, because I'm streaming on quite high video quality. Or is anyone else experiencing that issue? Yeah, so what I'm expecting on GBPUSD is you see this is the last bear bullish candlestick in this case for the weekly time frame. But then now this one might take you decades before price gets here. Of course, me, I might be patient for that long because I'm a swing trader. I'm used to. But then now as a day trader, maybe this might not be very ideal for you. So you can be looking for short-term zones to take sales to head the market to this particular point where we are having this liquidity pool. It's still a virgin liquidity pool because price has not tested it yet. So if you scale down to the daily time frame, intendedly you can see on the daily time frame, this is our last structural low. So here we have our last structural break of structure, right? Yeah, here we have our last structural break of structure. So that means that this fair value gap is a valid fair value gap to take orders from. Most intendedly, we might be looking or we might be focusing on trades, taking more sales from here. And now this one has more, this one is stronger than almost all the other order blocks we've worked on because now this one is on a higher time frame. Yeah. One thing that I've learned throughout my trading journey is the higher the time frame, the higher the precision. The lower the time frame, the lower the precision. So if you get an order block or if you get a fair value gap you should be trading off from on the daily time frame, it is stronger than a daily time from a fair value gap on the 15 minutes time frame. The reason is there's a lot of noise on the lower time frames that maybe you miss out on important information, rather than on the higher time frames there is a lot of precision, because now in the higher time frame there's no noise in the market. You'll be basically looking at what really is happening in the market. So this fair value gap is a valid one. Of course, now you can scale down to lower time frames to try and to basically try and get it as refined as possible. It's basically as refined as possible. But basically, that's what you can be looking out for. And in the event that you take a trade off that fair value gap, see, you'll have a stop loss of about 73 pips, which is not much for a swing trader, and that is a very fantastic one. Actually, I have more confidence on this than any other one because of a 6.7 RR. So that it means that it's a fantastic trade. Any trade that is above 1:3 RR is a very fantastic trade, rather than any trade that is lower than that. Okay, yeah. So next on our checklist is USDJPY. So for USDJPY on the weekly time frame, we are very bullish. You can see clearly. Let me check out a different liquidity provider. So you can see on the daily time frame, on the weekly time frame, we are very bullish on USDJPY. I'm still expecting to see USDJPY push higher because we've not swept any buy side liquidity. So I'm expecting price to sweep this buy side liquidity. Whichever the trade you take, you should be looking out to take out this liquidity before anything else happens in the market. Probably we might take out this high because we've taken out several lows on USDJPY, but we've not taken out any major highs. So I'm expecting price might push to this point. So on the daily time frame now, from that after that, you now will be looking basically out for points where you can get in the market, which now on the daily time frame you can't clearly see any order blocks you can take a trade off from. So it means you go lower even on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, that's what we have. Not very clear as well on the 1-hour time frame. I'm expecting this. I actually have this limit order on my account. I'm expecting to see how here, and you see market created for us an inducement here. This inducement will be liquidity of interest because now market will be looking out to sweep this liquidity and in extension activate our orders here before we push higher. So you can have your sorry. So you can have for maybe a day trader or someone who is not into holding a trade for so long. But then now for those big guys who are willing to hold for a while, you can have your targets there. Of course, you see that gives you a cool 10 RR. Okay, almost double of what these will give you. But still, this is also a good one. But now you can have it till that point. Yeah. So think that is what I'm looking out for on USDJPY because I'm still expecting USDJPY to be bullish this week. Okay, just a very small bearish momentum because of course market has to move in expansions and retracements. So this retracement here, pick our orders before market pushes higher. Okay, so I look at USDCHF and then lastly USDCAD, and then maybe if there's any question I'll answer, and then we can finish up with the rest of the pairs tomorrow. I think that will be fantastic. Yeah. So USDCHF on the weekly time frame, I think it's been a while since I actually traded this pair. I had it have clear entries on during the December holiday, but then unfortunately I wasn't trading during the December holiday, but it had very clear setups. So on the weekly time frame, you see price is still very bullish, and I'm still expecting price to keep on bullish with the bullish momentum because of the kind of momentum we're having on USDCHF, which intendedly means that on the daily time frame now we'll be looking out for supply zones to take trades, okay, because you've already found out that you are bullish, so you have to scale down to a lower time frame or to lower time frames to try and find possible order blocks or supply zones or demand zones, sorry, to take trades off from. But then I hate this pair because it's usually not very clear. Yeah, so I think for this pair, you can just avoid. You don't have to have an entry on every other pair. Yeah, I think it's not very clear, and you guys can also attest to that. You see the kind of candlesticks and what things we're having, so it's not a nice demand zone to find or to leverage off from for prices. Okay, maybe because this is your last break of structure, right? This is now lower probability because we are forcing entries by this is now forcing entries because it's not a very good one. You can see there is a fair value gap there, so maybe you can leverage off that fair value gap, but it's not very strong. It's not. Yeah, you can avoid this pair. You can avoid USDCHF for next week. Yeah. Then lastly, someone had proposed we look at USD CAD. Yeah. So USD CAD. We start from the weekly time frame. And I think by the time I was looking at USDCAD, it was ranging. I think it's been a while as well since I looked at this pair. That was around last year, September, October, around there. Yeah, so it was ranging, and I think it broke off the range. So Of course, right now, I'm sure price is trying to sweep this buy side liquidity right here. And so once you already know that, so it's easier for you because now you know where price is headed on the weekly time frame. So you always now the only thing that's remaining is scaling down to a lower time frame. Try and look for possible points of entry, right? Yeah, and of course, maybe in this case you can have this. No, I'm marking that candle is if you go to your it's even smaller. If you go to your line chart, you'll be able to spot that. I think if you for those guys who trade supply and demand zones, I think maybe you know amongst the types of demand zones, there's a demand zone that is called a rally base rally. So we always have a lot of orders resting around here. Entry orders we can be looking out for. That's on the daily time frame, but it means you'll have to wait for a while because now you see it's not very it's not very clear if you look at it from the candlestick perspective, and it's also on the daily time frame. Might take a while before price gets there, but it's a clear one. You see now it's even clearer if you're looking at now on the 4-hour time frame. You can you can clearly see there's a last bearish candlestick here that you can mark as your demand there, and it has maybe price to react off from there. And then now maybe in the event that you take a trade off there, you just target that high, which is fantastic. So you can target whichever of those. Yeah. So that is basically what you can be looking out for on USDCAD for Masi Rungu. I think Masi Rungu asked about that. Dennis Casemiro, please George try to explain what we expect on the lower time frame entry hizo church na 15 minutes obese. So the thing is, I think that will be longer. I think maybe I can organize a meeting and explain to you guys about the change of characters, the breakout structures, and what to expect now in the lower time frames for those guys who trade confirmations. Because now I've basically been giving out outlooks, higher time frame outlooks. But basically, if this is your demand and you're expecting price to get here before it pushes higher, of course, on the higher time frame, that is what you look at, you'll be seeing. But then on the lower time frame, most at times you'll be seeing something like this. So and then price gets into the 50% of your OB most at times, gets out. So once price gets out, it means that now here you have had a change of character on the lower time frame. Okay. Yeah, you'll have a change of character on the lower time frame there. And then now you'll see a very small order block or a fair value gap that will be created there. So let me shade it differently. That you'll see now a very small order block, demand zone, or that's now what you'll see on the lower time frames. But on the higher time frames, of course, this is what we just show. But on the lower time frames, basically, this is what you'll be looking out for. Yeah. So, so I think that is it. I think your question is partially answered. It might not be fully answered because of time, but I will answer your question either on my next live stream, or I can organize a meeting with you guys. I think most of you guys are either on my WhatsApp or Telegram, and then we talk. We check it out. Of course, if you're not on my Telegram, the link is on my bio or description. You can join. Yeah, I think that can be it for now. Ken Murui asks CHF-JPY. CHF-JPY is amongst the pairs we'll be looking out for tomorrow. For tomorrow, we'll be starting from NZUSD, CAD-JPY, CHF-JPY. We'll check the JPY basket, the USDCHF, and all these other pairs. So it's amongst the pairs that we'll look at tomorrow. Yeah. Any other question, inquiry, addition, subtraction? Okay, so fantastic. So I hope you guys have learned. Thank you for joining my at what time tomorrow. I think I'll share with you guys, but I think most probably just around the same time, from around 5:15 to 6. That's a cool 45 minutes session to check out. But I think I'll do a video, not a video, a text on my either Telegram or WhatsApp, both of them. Yeah. As well, if you've not subscribed by the way to my Telegram channel, to my YouTube channel, it will be fantastic if you hit the subscribe button. Yeah. I think we can stop from there if there is no other inquiry. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more educative content like this. Okay. Yeah. See you guys tomorrow, guys. Didn't know which one is subscribe. So yeah, sure. You can subscribe. Yeah, guys, see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining the live stream. I am so glad and happy.